What is up, everybody? Triforce Caboose here. I hope you all are having a wonderful day today. If you can hear my voice right now, then you have stumbled into another episode of Go Figure. This is my part of the internet where I am your host, and I take you through all things action figures, statues, bust, or anything of the sort. But I won't run my mouth too long. If you want to catch me on any other part of the internet, all the links to my socials are down below. But without me running my mouth, let's get right into today's video. But I hope to see you around, hope you're doing well, and look forward to chatting with you soon. Be safe and be good people, my friends. Today I am bringing you my first action figure review, and we will be reviewing the Bring Arts Dragon Quest Toughie figure. I purchased this directly from Square Enix's store, and there's a lot of things I like with this figure, some things I don't like. I'm really happy to start off with this. This was made possible through my Twitch stream, through RedBunny, so shout outs to RedBunny for making this figure review possible. A quick backstory, I started streaming Dragon Quest XI on Twitch last year. I really enjoyed the game. I have a huge soft spot for this type of character design. It kind of crosses over my new love for JRPGs and my love for professional wrestling, and this is a great character. I will eventually be customizing this figure into Dave, who I will put on screen, give him a nice bright pink coat. But before we did that, I wanted to actually look at him as he was, go through my likes and dislikes, and yeah, so this is the packaging. Let's crack him out of the packaging and take a look at the accessories. Getting into accessories, he has a lot of really good accessories as far as like his melee weapons. Starting off here with his whapping stick. Nice texturing. I like the wood grain that you can see in there. Nice job of the application on the deco and texture on the handle. I just really like it. There's a little paint splotching here at the top of the handle for me. It's not that big of a deal. Overall, it looks really good, and it's going to be in his hand, and when you pose him around and everything, it's going to look great. Up next, with this sword here, I really love this item. It's got a nice amount of paint deco, even down to the bottom of the handle of the sword. The crossguard looks really good. It's a really nice metallic sheen to it. Paint apps are really clean. Looks really good in his hand, posing it around. Honest to God, this is my second favorite of his melee accessories. I say second favorite because this beast right here is magnificent. The texturing, the deco, the even little bit down here where you can tell it was shaved off, same thing at the top there. They did an excellent job with the application of paint, texturing. These things are pointed enough to look really good in photography, but not so much that you're going to hurt yourself on, which I'm glad. There are quite a few accessories for figures that I have poked myself on. Texturing on the grip looks phenomenal. Honest to God, you even get a little wood grain on the bottom there. Like, this thing is magnificent. This is an S tier accessory. Nice paint apps. It's a very simple, short pokey boy. I like that they went the extra mile on the handle here. Nice shine to it. Not much to say about it. It's a dagger. I like it though. And now rounding out the accessories comes my least favorite of the accessories, and maybe I'm just, I've only ever played Dragon Quest XI, so maybe this is accurate to the source material. I just feel like it's very bland. It's basically just the mold. There's not really a lot of paint going on. There's not really a lot of detail going on. I do like the texture on the handle, but overall, considering that, you know, this came in the same package, when you put these two side by side, you really just feel bad for this. The arm's accessory is really interesting to me because it ports in on both sides of where his forearm's removed from the elbow joint, and you have to kind of push it in to give him the cross look. I'll try posing him with this. I haven't actually attempted to put this on him yet. I was waiting for the review, so we'll see. It does use a nice little niching there to make sure it doesn't catch on his straps or anything like that. So yeah, I'm interested. It's definitely not like anything I've seen before. Normally I stick with like the Marvel Legends scale figures and things like that, so this is a really interesting piece, but I'm interested to try it. I will say I adore the fact that his swappable hands come on a peg stand. It means I'm not going to be losing them or anything like that. Yeah, it's pretty great actually. I'm seeing if that's a paint smut. Yeah, so there's a little, boy's got a little paint scuff on his finger. Nothing crazy though. But these are the port hands. Real simple. Again, I really like the system here of having something to stick them on. And then rounding out his accessories is, I'm assuming, just a basic Bring Art stand. I will get to my issues with this stand here in a minute, but it's real simple. Just clasp and everything comes apart. You can port it around to different spots here depending on where you need him to be and stuff like that. But I do have some problems with this stand that I'll go through in a little bit. So overall, I think the accessory quality is really well. I'll go through and kind of rate everything individually at the end. But now let's talk about his articulation and what I think of the overall build of the figure, what I do like, what I don't like, and some things that kind of confuse me. So yeah, let's pop this boy off the stand and into the hand. So let's just start off by saying that sculpt-wise and deco-wise, he's pretty magnificent. He's very true to the character. It's a very heavy figure. And honest to God, I really love the sculpt, the way that it kind of goes in, the scarring, everything like that. The head has a nice texturing. There's a nice wash over everything. The neck moves really independently and everything. It just feels really good in the hand. We'll go over articulation here in just a second. Things that I don't like initially with the figure is the way the midsection's put together. I really like, and you guys will find out throughout my figure reviews, I really like articulation in figures. And I really wish that I could lift his leg up beyond that far. What's really interesting to me is he has a very soft diaper unit here, and it's not necessarily extremely well attached. I'll find myself, as I'm posing the figure, like running into an issue where I have it neatly tucked underneath his belt here. But you'll find a lot of gappage in the figure, and I find it just normally posing it, I kind of run into an issue where it starts falling down. It's not exactly pretty to look at times. This figure is definitely more for static poses or basic like aggression action poses. I just noticed as I was posing it around, the way the hip is put together, the way that diaper piece works was frustrating. But that being said, you know, once you kind of get it fitted and tucked underneath that and everything, just him standing around doing his poses, it still looks magnificent. It still has excellent paint apps, a little bit of texturing here on the front. It's great, but I do have a few issues. I wish that was engineered a little bit better. As for scale, this boy will measure out. If you're looking at the base of his head, not including the horns, he's just under that 6-inch mark, with the horns just at the 6-inch mark. And for those of you in centimeters, that puts him, looks like right at 15 centimeters. So going on, let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation here. So getting him, you can get him to look up about that far, not a ton of depth. Given the way the mask is set up, I don't really think you need much more. He will look down. He doesn't have any sort of ab articulation other than at the waist. He will swivel side to side. You can go full 360 if you want. He does get a decent amount of tilt. The head gets a small amount of head tilt. Not really a lot, but I mean, I think you can achieve the poses you want. Arms will go up and do a full 360. Bicep swivel. Elbow joint, not exactly pretty to look at underneath, but again, it's, you know, you get a 90-degree angle, a little more than 90-degree actually. Bend in there. I think that's all you're really going to need here. It looks like the wrist is on a ball. It'll move around. You can kind of get it wherever you need it to go. Now, getting his arms to go out, you'll get about that much rotation on it. What's interesting to me is the type of, I'm not familiar with this type of socket here, or joint, excuse me, because when you lift his arm up, you can't actually pull his arm out unless you do it from the bottom part. So you can't actually, say for example, if you take a Marvel Legends figure and you want to bring their arm out and you want to extend it, you have the option with the way that that joint is put in. So that way, you know, you can bring the boy's arm up, out, you can bring it down, you can bring it up. You have a lot of mobility options with it there. As opposed to him, you can only achieve an outward pose if you do it like this. And then by rotating, oh, that left one's tight. By rotating that, it creates some odd profiles with the way the biceps are put together. It's not my favorite thing to pose. Once you finally get him in poses, he looks magnificent, but some of the engineering for the shoulder joints is just something I'm not accustomed to, and it may just be more of a bring arts thing. Like I say, I'm more in the Marvel Legends type scale. Again, this was made possible, shout outs to RedBunny, and I do love this figure. I'm very interested in the way that he was constructed. And if you look at the back of his packaging, see, whenever you get him, and I'll show some poses at the end here, whenever you get him in that poses, it looks great. It just feels very, very stiff to pose. I think that's more of my issue, so much that I don't like it. It's just very stiff, and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on the joints. So it can be interesting, especially because my right bicep is incredibly tight, and I'm always a little nervous when I'm trying to like shift it around because it starts to shift all that. Back to articulation, I kind of went over it a little bit ago. His leg, you can get it moving forward about that far without pushing any pressure onto the actual soft rubber piece. Moving back, he goes a little bit back, not a lot. I think you kind of run into the butt issue there, and as you see, I'm kind of dropping the boy's butt down again, and I'm trying to keep this tucked underneath, and it's just, this is where you can kind of run into it if you try to do a lot of posing. Knee works well. He can't quite kick his butt due to the sculpting there, but it works well enough. No boot rotation. I thought there would be boot rotation in this. The way it's put together, it looks like there'd be boot rotation, but there's not. For the feet, you can get him kicking up that far, down that far. No real ankle pivot, and no rotation. So the boy's feet are pretty much there, and then you do have toe articulation. It's not a lot, but it's there. Hi, how you doing? I'm a toe. I also wanted to try to put on this forearm piece for the first time on camera with you guys. His elbow just pops loose there. I really just want to move it outward and I can't, but you know, it is what it is. Oh, okay, we're shooting that arm off. Oh, frick, hold on guys. Oh, we lost the peg in here, which is fine. I can get this out real quick. Let's actually port this back in. So just to let you guys know what's going on, this one's tight in the forearm, so I'm actually gonna get some of my soft pliers here and just pop this unit out. I gotta find it first. It didn't take much and we were able to dislodge that. So let me make sure I put this in the correct way. There is a, let me focus it, there's a short end and a long end. The longer end is the one you want on the outside here, I think. Yeah, there we go. So we got Nubby Boy here, and now let's try, so you have to bend up his little nublets there. Let's go ahead and port this one on, get it in there. Oh, why are you not going in? Interesting, interesting. Okay. All right, guys, so we're going to try something here. All right, I'm going to see if I can do this off camera, and we'll be right back. So it turns out it wasn't as difficult as I was making it, but it is all 100% about, like, the angle that you come into the figure with. So trying to do it with my arms fully outstretched into the camera was not a good idea. But we got it, and it looks great. I will say, I honest to God love the way this looks. This boy got some goddamn sass in them little diaper pants. But, yeah, it looks great. That's magnificent. That might actually be my pose of choice for him. One thing I will point out, though, is even though this is in here, this joint on his left arm is 100% more secure than the one on his right arm. His right arm would absolutely, yeah, it's mainly just in there by technicality, and I can't for the life of me get it to go further. Oh, well, it's something, it's definitely a pose that is just more static. I mean, now, let's put this boy's arms back on. So just putting his left arm back on, I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to port these arms back on via comparison, because they just snap right into place and then they're good to go. Yeah, that's very frustrating that the cross arms are so interestingly designed. So we are gonna slap just real quick before I start doing some static shots of the boy with my overall thoughts. Also, one other small thing, it's a very personal thing. I don't know if it would bother half you guys as much. It really pisses me off that this piece right here doesn't go all the way around. It's attached via glue here, so I'm not worried about it coming off, but it should just be a full circle. I don't know why it's not. For as expensive as this figurine is, this should absolutely not be this way if it's glued in. Now some of you may be asking me, Triforce, how on earth are you going to be able to port this big club into this bitty hand? It's not going to go. That's why this pops off. So that way, slip it right up under that boy, give it a little push. There we go. I guess you could just have him like this, just a little. Maybe he works at like a desk job and this is his little stamp, like, oh no, they're gonna evict my other boys. It's a really tight fit and you're gonna have to support it with your thumb, but yeah. And for the sake of it, let's just port. I mean, honest to God, all of the accessories really are like this, because you can just pop them off into two pieces and give them a little push right through the hand. Well, that didn't work. So once you finally actually get the weapons and stuff ported into his hands, the first time is a bit of an experience. But once you get him in, he looks really good. Again, as I was trying to pose him, you kind of run into this issue where the diaper comes untucked and then you just have to spend time getting it wedged way up under the utility belt. Honestly, it showing through on top is just better because it holds it in place. So you still don't get any more mobility in the leg, but it at least means you don't get any gappage when you're taking photos or posing him around. Also guys, I want to take back anything at the beginning of the video I said about this stand. When I was messing with it originally, it seemed really loose, but I realized I didn't quite have it ratcheted as tight as it needed to be. So now that that's done, stand's fantastic. Just don't be trying to make him fly. Toughie ain't meant to fly. Maybe he'll be like a Mission Impossible. Success. Quick thing I noticed, guys, as I've been posing him around getting ready to end the video, as you can see I have my stand back here. This sword's pathetic. The bronze sword that I talked about, I don't know what it is. The peg securing it is ridiculous. This thing was a nightmare to put on. It very loosely attaches. You can't push it any further than that. And it just pops off incredibly easy. Like, I put no pressure on that. So I will say, for this figure to be in the price point that it's at, this should be manufactured better. I don't know if it's just mine. It might just be mine. I know these kind of things can happen with quality control and stuff like that. They're not exactly taking it apart and putting it together over and over, but like, you can't push it in or it just will not go. You just have to kind of rotate it till it hits its sweet spot. and then sits there and then don't move it. You have to rotate from the bottom. I don't think that that's a very good quality control. So time for some overall thoughts on the figures. I don't really want to review figures on a scale of 1 to 10 or give them a letter grade or anything like that, because I do think for different strokes for different folks, different figures will have different pros and cons no matter who's looking at them and what they want to do with them. For me, this figure is more mid-range just because I do like a lot of articulation, and this figure does have some big articulation limitations, but I do think it makes up a lot in its sculpt and its paint application. Its deco looks incredibly clean. I did forget to mention when talking about the articulation, so we'll go back into this here, you also get thigh rotation. I don't know how I forgot that, but I do think some of the accessories are not top notch. That bronze sword is pathetic. It is the worst accessory. I'm not even being shy about that. It is absolutely atrocious, awful. The porting in on the cross arms is not great. I am not a huge fan of that. I love the pose though, which sucks because now I gotta fight with it. As for if I would recommend this figure to everybody, he comes in the armored version, which is what I reviewed. He also comes in a non-armored version that doesn't have all of the weapon accessories. I would recommend this figure to fans of the franchise. I don't know that I would recommend it full price. Perhaps if you could find it on sale, get a coupon code, stuff like that. It will look phenomenal on a shelf. I'm excited to review this because I'm finally going to take him out of the packaging and stick him in the backdrop for my Twitch streams and my YouTube videos, and I'm very excited for that. It's just hard for me to recommend somebody spend, triple digits on this when there are some quality of life issues that I have as far as posability, articulation, and some of the accessories that you are paying for in the armored version just don't have a lot of structural integrity. Like, this sword is disgusting. Not even going to be shy. I hate this thing. Also, side note, the second time putting on the crossed arms attachment after knowing the you have to learn the angle to put it in. It's still not incredibly easy, but putting it in a second time, I got a much smoother connection, and it looks, oh my god, that looks fantastic. That is absolutely the way I'll pose him, and doing so gives off a lot of sass without having to use a lot of leg articulation. I love the cross arm look. In closing thoughts, guys, like I say, if you can find this for cheaper, I'd highly recommend it. It's not awful, especially if you're a big fan of the franchise. I will tell you, it detours me not one bit from the Sylvando figurine that Bring Arts makes for Dragon Quest XI, which I am planning at some point to pick up and review on channel. So it's not a game breaker by any stretch of the imagination. I would not say so. Overall, I like the figure. There are some big misses, but there are some big hits. If anything, I just want you guys to know what's going on before you look into buying it for yourself. Toughie and me are gonna head out for the day. I'm gonna get him slapped up real nice and pretty in the backdrop of my stream until I get the paints to repaint this boy into Dave. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, morning, wherever time it is, wherever you are in the world. If you don't take anything away besides the information on the figure, remember, no matter what's going on in life, you deserve a smile on your face. You deserve all the happiness. Take a second and appreciate yourself because you're magnificent. I guarantee that. I appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to this review and hang out with me here today. Until next time when we meet up on the tracks for our next crazy figure review, I've been Triforce Caboose. The pleasure's all mine. This caboose is loose and leaving the station. Alright, get ready to say bye, Toughie.